I'm Emily and welcome to my YouTube channel. During the summer I did some work experience with ATG, and for this thing we did 1 day of workshop, so that was directing, producing, and we went on a tour of Theatreland, so all the theatres that ATG own in the West End. I had a workshop with Jane Moriarty, who was the director. She taught us sort of how to create our own vision of something. So we did Cinderella and we adapted it, and we chose what message we were trying to bring across to the thing, and we basically did like screenshots of like 5 key events within the story that we wanted to tell. The producing workshop, we had to sort of decide what we wanted to make. Like, we were going to make a musical and we wanted to see who was going to star in it, what it was going to be about, target audience, and that was done by Jonathan Russell. The tour of the Theatreland was quite good because they sort of gave us a background on where we were going to be placed, and so I was placed at the Harold Pinter Theatre with Sunny Afternoon, and it was quite lucky because another girl on the course was going on the same train line as me and at the same theatre, which was really cool because I got to go in with someone instead of going in by myself. Day 2, 3 and 4 were spent at the Harold Pinter Theatre. So the first day, day 2, was we sort of got a tour of the theatre. So we looked at all the seats it has. It has 736 or something seats, and 4 levels. So there's the stalls, dress circle, royal circle and upper circle. I got to go into the box office for 45 minutes, which I learnt how the box office tickets work, and I saw people buy tickets for the upcoming show Nice Fish at the Harold Pinter. Yeah, that was quite a good insight into the way the tickets are bought and sold, because they're issued to different selling companies. So when it looks like it's been sold on the seats online, a lot of the time it's just because other selling companies own those tickets. After that we looked at what the deputy manager and the theatre manager do. So they do all the finances. We looked at sort of spend per head, which was quite interesting because it's sort of everything, the total divided by the amount of people who are actually there, and then you get to see sort of how much an average person would spend in the theatre on that particular night, to see where they're selling and stuff. And then after that we had lunch, had a break, and then we spent some time doing front of house stuff for the evening show. So I was in the stalls doing this thing called Auditorium, which is like a free seat delivery thing, and I was shadowing Jake. I was shadowing a man who was an usher, so he was showing people to their seats and also doing Auditorium at the same time. So that was good, and we also had to tell people not to take photos because taking photos is not allowed in this particular production. Then I got to go and watch Sunny Afternoon, and it's a really, really good show. I recommend it. It's closing in October, so but it's doing on a UK tour at the moment. So it's about the story of the Kinks. So it's a true story, and it uses their songs to tell their story. The usher's name was Jack. He did the Auditorium with me. Well, I didn't do anything, I just followed him, and then I also helped people to their seats as well. After the show finished, I went back upstairs and we went home. So had to walk back to Embankment tube station, and then we took the train to Victoria, and then Victoria to home. Day 3 we did some, we came in, that was the matinee day, so it was a Wednesday. So we watched a meeting with the theatre manager and the IT people about this new ticket scanning thing that I think they've already started it, but I haven't been back, so I don't know whether they are successful or not. But basically they wanted to scan tickets when people come in so that they actually check the tickets properly. We then shadowed what a duty manager would do. So we followed a woman called Ifeanya, or Iffy for short. So Iffy showed us around the building and showed us sort of that she has to check each exit to make sure there's nobody like looming around strange who isn't going to see the show. She also has to, there's this thing where if the fire alarm goes off, it doesn't actually make a sound, but she gets notified that it's gone off, and they have to check the building. So all the front of house staff have to check the building thoroughly to make sure whether it's a false alarm or it's a real thing. And then after that they have 3 minutes to get the whole of the audience and the cast and everyone out of the theatre. Another fact that I never knew of was that the safety curtain, it's UK law for the safety curtain to come down and then back up again. The audience has to see the safety curtain, so often you see it at the interval, so the safety curtain comes down and then comes back up again. So if there is a fire, then the audience knows that the safety curtain will come down. So yeah, that's UK law. I did not know that. So after the sort of get-in of people, we show people where they were going, and then we went down to back of house, or rear of house, whatever you want to call it. So the girl who was with me went up to the fly area, so they pull the ropes to bring down the scenery, and so yeah, and they had like a chandelier that they needed to bring down and then back up. And I shadowed a stage manager called Ross, and he called the show. So we went up into this little box by the side of the stage, and he did all the cues, the lighting cues, the sound cues, the music, and all that sort of stuff. So he read the book, and that was, I think, the highlight of my week, because it's what I want to do. I want to do technical theatre, so either lighting or stage management I think I'd like to do. So it was really insightful seeing it actually work in a West End show. What was quite funny is when I went up there, first of all, he said he gave me a pair of earbud things, and he says, you'll know the show's loud when you're out in the audience, but it's even louder because there's about 5 speakers by the side of you. And so he gave me a pair of earbud things, just to sort of save my ears. Interval, I didn't know this, but they time the first half of the show to decide whether it's going to be a 19, 20, 21, 22 minute interval. So he timed the first half, and then he times the interval, and then during about 5 minutes towards the end of the actual show, there's a 5-minute call saying that there's only 5 minutes after the show. So I really loved sort of looking at the technicalities of everything and how it all works from a stage manager's point of view. Day 4 was results day, so me and my friend, luckily we were both the same age, so we both had results day on the same day. So we ended up going up to London a little bit later. Then we got there, and then we did some tasks, we did some written tasks. So we looked at all the financial incomes and outgoings of a fictional theatre, and we worked out, we managed to get a loss, which I don't think is right, but the whole task was sort of to get us to look at that. It's not really to get a right answer, we just looked at the whole financial workings of a theatre. We did some health and safety checks. We went around the theatre looking at how safe it is to the audience and how it is to the workers, the front of house staff, the back of house staff. We were looking at how safe it would be for them to, as a working environment, as a theatre. I shadowed a theatre administrator, so she organises all of the sort of buyings of like small things, and she handles like the employees, so like their working, their contracts and everything, and that's what senior assistant does as well. So we looked at the rotas of the front of house staff, so that was sort of the admin side of it, but then we also looked at the senior assistants who go on duty, and for that I also followed Iffy again. So we were at the front checking tickets as people were going in, showing when where to go, so there isn't a queue forming outside. I watched the show again because they let me watch the show whilst the other girl went home because she didn't want to go and see it again, and my family came up to see it as well. The whole experience of being in a theatre made me want to work in a theatre more. I just got it was the most amazing time I could ever have. I enjoyed it. Everyone was so nice. It's a really positive working environment. Even front of house, back of house, wherever, it's just an amazing, I need to stop using the word amazing. It was the greatest working environment I've been in myself yet. Not to say that other professions don't have that sort of working environment, but I feel like I would get on well in a theatre environment. The first day of workshops we spent at the Lyceum Theatre, so where the Lion King is, and we spent that in the Ambassadors Lounge there. Day 5 was we spent at the Howard Pinter Theatre again, but this was workshop day again, so we met up with all the other people in the course who had been at different venues for the past 3 days. Well, we started off with a marketing workshop, so we looked at the prices and things and costs and everything to market a campaign. So the Book of Mormon spent £2 million, £3 million on their first advertising campaign. We looked at how much we could spend and what we had to do, a photo shoot costs a certain amount of money, and then we rolled dice to see how successful our marketing campaign was and how the audience received the show. We had lunch. No, we didn't. Yes, we did. We had lunch, and then we spent that, after lunch we did a programming workshop. So we were looking at a regional theatre and the shows that they were put on there, and the different dilemmas double booking, and the theatre company thinking they booked a different week. So we looked at those problems and how we would approach it. I have no clue what the people who ran it, their names this time, but that was quite interesting, seeing how a regional theatre works and how complicated it is. And after that we did a customer experience workshop, so we looked at the ambassador theatre groups, like Ambassador Lounge, and different packages that they could have, and how that brings in money and how people are more likely to spend there. It brings up spend per head and everything like that. And that was quite interesting, seeing the front of house side of stuff, which we hadn't really done anything workshop wise. And then at lunch we went back upstairs because me and my friend we went up again to say goodbye and give a little thank you card to the people we'd spent the 3 days with, because we both loved it so much. So I don't know if anyone from ATG is watching this, or the creative learning team from ATG, or people from Harold Pinter. I don't know. Who knows whether they're going to watch this, but what I want to say is thank you for the most amazing time. It was a few weeks back now, but I still think about it every day. I would, if you're thinking of a career in theatre, whether it be front of house, back of house, not necessarily acting, it's more just sort of other stuff, front of house, back of house, production wise, go for it. Search up ATG theatre course. I'll probably put a link in. It's for ages 14 upwards, and about 1,500 people apply, and there's about 68 paid places for the 2 weeks of summer and 1 week of Easter, or 2 weeks of Easter. So there's 4 different weeks and 68 people overall, and it honestly is the best opportunity you could get if you don't have that way into theatre, don't have a family friend or person in your family in theatre. It becomes so much harder to get into theatre if you don't have anyone, because it's who you know, not what you know. If you liked it, give it a like or a comment or a subscribe. If you didn't, then that's fine. Just like it, I want to know. Thanks. Bye.